the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you want to mark a page that to read and give careful consideration, and this will change as we go through this year, as we just heard today, for example. Certainly a lot of that piece of flexibility, change, staff working hard, building capacity, and that type of thing. So that's page 7. Student achievement, page 8. That looks different because, of course, as you know, we didn't have our provincial achievement testing program in the 1920 school year. So what that means is this section, which typically talks about those kinds of things, and the sections within our plan that typically talk about our achievement and diploma test results are not there. But we do, however, still, and probably more important than ever, focus on our literacy and our numeracy assessments. We've got students, why more important than ever? Because we've got students with gaps, right? We've got some students who are probably way ahead of the game because of the type of context they were in the spring and the level of rigor they may have had in their home. And we've got some kids who may have not had a lot of curriculum in their home. And so these are more important than ever. If we go to page 9, just a note that we certainly this year for our students new to the country, students to Lethbridge or immigrant students have slowed. Margaret continued to be slow, of course, given the COVID situation. But we did last year, after, as you know, quite substantial number of years of influx, add a program on the west side at GSAP school for limited formal schooling and expanded the program at Churchill. You can just keep flipping. Page 12. Focus on health and wellness there. I know we talked a bit about that today. Just stop me if you want. All right, I'm going fast. And if you keep flipping to page 17, I think that's a good note too to talk about sort of the growth in staff demographics as well, right? And so this gives some perspective too on how dynamic a school division is once it reaches this size, right? How many people go through human resources, right? So we have, when you have close to 5,000 applicants across, of course, all different job categories, moved 1,315, that means, in other words, they were processed to some level within that system and then hired. And so it gives some idea of how dynamic of a system it is. Summary of accomplishments, page 18, put a little star there. It's great for you to read through that because this really pulls out some of the amazing things that happened in the last school year and that the division was able to move forward with. And starting at the top, including the self-growth being now at 87% completion. And I know that soon, maybe in the new year, we'll all be able to go for a visit there. Once we don't have steel-toe boots and hard hats. Yeah. And that's as a piece of that. But many, many other accomplishments that are showcased in that section. The page 20 gives us the combined accountability pillar overall summary. I think it's absolutely a summary we can be proud of. When you take the reason there's white in there is because there wasn't provincial examination program, right? And so that's why the NAs. But when we look at safe and caring, we're high. Program studies, very high. Education quality, high. And then we've got our dropout rate, high school completion rate, diploma rate, and Rutherford scholarship rate. Those are all, of course, associated with that same measure of high school kids completing and moving on to post-secondary. And then, of course, we're high in all of the other satisfaction measures from our school community members, including that, of course, the people get surveyed are the parents and the staff and the students, depending on age. For grades 4, 7, and 10. So I think that certainly we can be proud of that. Our schools are in the midst of presenting their education plans. As they present them, they're going up on their own school websites. You should be able to find them. We've tried to make it so that they're easy to navigate and find on the school websites. And I know Right, I think we've got them all going to the same spot, I think we're good. And so, of course, you will see your school's plans should align with our plan, that should, because we have a common template, do align with our plan, our priorities, and also provide room for the schools to have their own priorities in addition to that, and they have to report their accountability for results as well. Now, the priorities, I just feel like the board knows these all the way from now to the end of this document, that you know the priorities. So what, you get a board priority report every board meeting. The board is the one who finalized these priorities following the board retreat last year, moving into this spring. And so all of those outcomes, all of those strategies, the board has seen on numerous occasions, and thinking you don't necessarily need me to walk through those today. All right?
No questions. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. Any questions for Cheryl? Thank you, Cheryl, for the work you've done. It's supporting a good work of our division and our strengths and the areas to continue to improve. Thank you. Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the combined 3-year plan? Donna.
I move to approve the combined 3-year plan. I'd like to say how nice it looks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor? So moved. All right, so we have our annual education results report.
That's all.
Is that all?
So, yeah, that's all one. Yeah,
Do I need a
all
separate
in one
motion?
document. Yeah, it's all, I
It's
think
all
it
the same
was one
motion?
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. All right, now we will move down to 5.5, Indigenous Education Committee Terms of Reference.
That would be Morris, you want to? Or Deborah, oh,
All
Deborah.
right, Donna.
Right.
All right, Sonia.
I was at the last meeting, so we just went over, changed FMI to Indigenous and a few other words. And right, we have to bring it to you now for approval, and so I'm asking for your approval on our new terms of reference. I recommend that the board approve the Indigenous Education Committee's terms of reference as presented.
Thank you, Donna. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? So moved. All right, now we've come to the public forum part of our agenda. We have no submissions, we have no online submissions. But this time, I would just like to say we have added an online submission option. So since we cannot have people attending in person, and I believe even when we can't have people in person, it would be a good option to keep. Stakeholders are able to go to the division website, and under the board tab, click on public forum, and they can upload a video message, and then that way they're able to speak to their point, and we can hear their voice. And those who submit a video will receive a response from the board before the next board meeting. I would also like to add at this point, we're also starting to archive our meetings, our board meetings online. So if somebody does miss a meeting and they really want to see it, they can click on where we have meetings and agendas, and they're able to see archived meetings there. So in our package in the agenda, we have a public forum response to Joy Morris for her forum submission on the SRO program last month. And then we move to division highlights. So typically for division highlights, we move around the table name by name, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. And I'm just going to call for division highlights, and anyone around the table is welcome to add a highlight. I know everyone submits reports, but it would be appreciated if you wanted to pull out a couple of specific highlights. And I'm not gonna call on any names. If you have a highlight to share, we welcome you to share that. Donna?
Well, it was my delight to see Arts Alive. Arts Alive is presented on the construction site at Japanese Gardens, and they have a big mural of all the award winners that they pick one from every grade level. And then they put them out individually. So I have to do a shout out because my granddaughter's picture is up there, but from grade 8. So, and it's very, very nice display. And we went to the awards at Chinook, and my grandson got an award. So it's been a wonderful month in the family for our, in this district for our family. So we enjoyed that. Then I enjoyed the fall conference of the Alberta School Board Association. I particularly like the 3 speakers they presented for professional development. So I think those are 3 highlights for my week. Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, we will keep moving on to the highlights of the report. My kids also had arts and Arts Alive at home displayed in the park. So it was fun to see that showcased. And it was also great to be part of the hiring of the principal for Robert Foxton Elementary School. So that was great to be able to welcome Erin Herkett to that team. Now we move on to our information items. Board chair report, I have nothing in my report to present. So we will move on to the associate superintendent reports.
My report is attached. Do you have any questions? No. My report.
Excellent, thank you. And we will move on to human resources reports.
Same, the report is attached. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And instructional services, Maureen.
And to mix it up, I'm just gonna go through mine, just kidding. Get any questions, you know where I am and you know where you can find me.
Thank you, and thank you for putting these reports together and being gracious as we just go through these today. Thank you. Next, Cheryl, with your superintendent report, please.
I echo in terms of the information is there for you. We have acknowledgement of excellence. As I mentioned last time, we changed it up a bit because now we have certain school showcasing in addition to some occasional showcases. So this month, as we go through, we've got Coalbanks Elementary School being showcased and Wilson. So and Fleetwood and Wilson. And so congratulations to those schools. I'm loving this way because we're learning, getting far more detailed and I think representative of all different schools rather than the same schools every month. And so this is the different schools every month. It's going well, I think. So that's there for your enjoyment. And of course, it's always nice for you to go through that. And if you see those persons or extended congratulations to them or a bouquet to them, certainly from the board, that makes a huge difference to them. The board priorities report is there for you. Are there any questions? Donations and support.
Sorry, Cheryl. Jen, you had a question?
Sorry, Jen. Yeah.
No, I don't have a question. I just have a comment about the, that program that they put up for grades 4 and 5 at Coalbanks. My grandson did a presentation and it was actually, if anybody wants to see it, you can see it online. I posted it, it's just done wonders for his self-confidence to make this presentation and this, what they call a speaker's bureau. And so I just want to make a mention and compliment the staff at all the schools, but particularly Coalbanks for thinking of some of these special things to do for kids. And especially right now when we're going through all of this, situation, with the pandemic and everything, and it's, I just think that it's great what they're doing, so, just, kudos to all of the teachers, but particularly the ones at Colbanks.
Thank you, Jen. It's always great when we see our kids shine in different areas. Cheryl?
The donations and support is there for board information. Are there any questions? And calendar of events. Anything notable that,
Cheryl. With the announcement today, you see things a little bit different for the division school council meeting on Monday. And any other meetings?
yeah, so I have to sort of collect my thoughts tonight after we finish here, and then we've got a teleconference call with Minister of Education at 6:30.
Okay,
So hopefully that'll clarify some few things, but if I was hearing them properly, yeah, you're right, we may be even more restricted with respect to our meetings, and so
gatherings, yeah.
our gatherings, and so we may need to look at our December school council meeting. We might have to postpone that meeting, for example. I think that schools, if they have December meetings, may need to be postponing their December, if they have any in-person. Most schools now are doing it through Teams, but
Right.
yes, Doug, we're gonna have to review any and all of our, anything left that we do have a portion in person.
Do we need to? Christmas break begins on the 19th. I received an email that one school is starting on the 18th. So I don't know if that needs to change on this calendar.
That's just
Because
because
it's resumed. Okay.
The 19th is good, the 4th is in.
yeah, oh, no, the classes will resume, Clark, they'll just be at home learning classes, right? So it's not another week of, like, when I just sort of read through on, the computer there, it's not another week of holidays, it's expected that, it says in the order as I was scanning through that the students would all have at-home learning,
The 4th through the 11th.
the 4th through the 11th.
We're gonna run elementary on for it, so I'm glad you
Yes.
clarified. Oh, Lord.
We're gonna do our best, Todd,
For 1 week.
yes, what it says.
Wow.
So far, a week they have that, huh?
Yes, we do. Love it. Any questions for Cheryl? All right, seeing that, we'll move on to our reports. Indigenous Education Committee.
Oh, that's the Pope report. We want to thank all the people who work for, in our district to promote Indigenous education. And I love that what we're doing this year, and I think that we're moving forward.
Thank you, Donna. The next is Division School Council. I was able to attend last month. The presentation was on COVID-19 decision-making and protocols. So Cheryl and Moray filled in an hour of time directing a PowerPoint and fielding questions from parents. It was very informative in our ever-evolving state. And so the meeting itself was quite short. It was about 20 minutes. So everything is in the minutes if you would like to see it. ATA Local Council.
I attended this month, and they usually have a great celebration in December and a dinner, but of course that's off this year. So all of the presentations and all of these meetings will be online.
Thank you, Donna. Community Engagement Committee. Jan.
Yeah, you've got my report there, and if there's any questions about the scholarship breakfast, we had quite a discussion about that and how we could do something different this year. Well, for next year, I guess, because we're not gonna be able to have a breakfast. And then the town hall process, I think it's coming up to be discussed at the in camera, so I'll just leave that for now. Unless there's any questions?
Tyler?
You just scroll back. Can you explain the break-even event to me? With that,
Explain what?
the break-even event, says perhaps
The
invite
break-even
businesses to a
event?
break-even event with a charge of $10.
Pull it down.
Oh, yeah.
Won't raise any money. I'm just wondering if, is that part of the breakfast, or is that something different, or what does that mean?
I think we were talking about that we weren't expecting to, we usually charge $50 for breakfast.
Yeah.
So this would be just meant to cover the minimal cost of maybe a speaker, and that's it. And just sort of as a thing, is what we were tossing around. Did I got that correct? Yes.
As opposed to having our regular ICE scholarship breakfast?
Well, yeah, we're trying to find an innovative way to maintain connection with our donors and supporters. And so we're currently talking about what that can look like, if there would be a possible online component, if there would be a ticket sale for that online component. And if there is, it wouldn't be a significant.
Okay, so you're trying to do kind of an online, keep in contact during COVID kind of thing, okay.
Yeah, we realize businesses and people are financially stressed right now, so yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jan? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to Board Audit Committee.
The report is there, unless anyone has any questions, and I guess we've already gone through at the start of the meeting. The auditors were here and everything, so another very clean audit, very well done, very well presented, so unless there's any questions, probably Mr. Jensen, you have Mark here.
Thanks, Tyler. ASB Zone 6 meeting.
The job meetings in the zone have some excellent professional development and Sandra Nabush from Minister Race, great job on economic success. She's his economic success quarter, truth and reconciliation calls to action. That was quite interesting. And then it was very interesting for the government's policies, just to remind us what they are. The ASBA is thinking that there are 40,000 students in Alberta that aren't registered. So they're doing a call out for us to actually find out how many each board has and ask a few questions around this.
Thank you. And then finally, we have the Policy Advisory Committee. The Liz report is included in the agenda, and so you can take a look there. Okay, oh, number 10, we have correspondence. I did receive a letter from Greater St. Albert Catholic Schools, writing a letter to Mr. LaGrange requesting full progress on the budget for the current school year. And with that, I adjourn the regular board meeting of today, and we will move back into our in-camera.